Some signs here of solid results so far this earnings season. We've heard from Alphabet, Meta Platforms, Amazon, all beating the street's pessimistic expectations last week. So right when we were coming into this, lots of questions about the rally that we have seen in tech since the start of the year, whether or not that was going to remain intact given the results. What do you think so far this earnings season?
Well, I think we've hit the bottom, right? Digital ads, we thought it was a disaster, but the top three players did pretty well. So Google did really well. You saw even though they had slowdown in YouTube, they got subscription growth that was there, right? And you look at what happened with Meta, they surprised everybody with a 3% growth and keeping about 3 billion monthly active users, which is pretty big feat for them. And of course, we saw Amazon breaking out. So the big tech companies have the capability of having the network and having different business models that can monetize on digital ads.
Right, I'm curious to get your thoughts on here just in terms of the strategy that we have seen from some of these larger tech giants, because Meta did make some comments that it is struggling to advertise on Reels. And then we had the news today that YouTube is giving advertisers a new format here to advertise across Shorts. What's working best in this environment?
Yeah, what's working best right now is just, having a different kind of differentiated ad market, because attention spans have dropped, right? So we've gone from 90 seconds to 60 seconds to basically 30 seconds, and to pop an ad is pretty hard to do that. So it's going to be back to display ad placements, or just very, very in-product type of kind of placements.
What do you think is the realistic timeline here in order to see substantial improvement that we've been waiting for within the ad market?
It's going to be about 3 quarters before we see that, and if you see that shift. Plus, we're going to see the macro conditions change as well. But what's been happening is advertisers are going to where the audiences are. And in fact, that's why you're seeing the big three actually do much better than everyone else.
Right, the biggest catalyst for tech valuations here on out. A lot of the hype has been around AI. Is that the investment trade that's going to stay intact here?
Yeah, so the hype on AI is going to be up for the next 3 quarters. You've got to have an AI play in order to be able to, sustain what's going on with your valuations. And AI is driving all the valuations, not because just the cost efficiencies are there. It's also about the exponential advantages companies will have if they're on the right AI platform.
What do you make of the race here? A lot of the two names that come up, at least at this point in the race, it's Microsoft and Alphabet, Google, their entrants here, or not really entrants, I should say, their growing presence within the AI space. They've been in the AI space now for quite some time with Bard. Who's winning?
So it's really tough to say, and here's why. It's a 2-horse race. Microsoft, at the beginning of the year, I heard from a lot of partners and a lot of people that Satya and Nadella basically said, we're going to declare war on Google, and they have. And what is happening is basically Google was slower to the market. They might have had better technology, might have better teams, but they're balkanized, and their organizational structure makes it very hard for them to collaborate the way Microsoft is much more top-down, and so they kind of launched all the ChatGPT, the Copilots, and went full on against Google for digital ads, as well as where they were going with their OpenAI investment. So it's a 2-horse race, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But the bottom line is we might not have enough data to be able to do all the things at a level of precision. So if your AI physician is 93% accurate, would you do it? Probably not. But if your search for, checking what's going on for self-help on a contact center call is 83% accurate, that's a win. And so we're going to see different gradations of where AI plays a role and what your comfort level is going to be.
So it sounds like you think Alphabet maybe has a chance here in catching up to Microsoft where they are in AI.
Oh, I think Alphabet definitely has a chance. And here's why, because they've got the better data centers, they got the better algorithms, but they've got to get themselves organized.
What kind of impact do you see this having on jobs? Because on one hand, there's the argument that AI is going to eliminate jobs. On the other hand, it could create some. What do you think?
We're definitely getting new types of jobs, right? Prompt engineers, one that keeps popping up, like how do you write the prompts to get the questions right? And the other one is a little dystopian. It's called the kill switch engineer, right? So who's going to pull the plug on AI when they come after us?
But in terms of, I guess, how recent graduates should be thinking about entering the tech space, right? AI's impact on that. How do you see that reshaping that workforce?
Yeah, it's very different, right? If you're on the creative sides, right, you suddenly have access to so many more new ideas. You can get a creative from concept to market instead of 30 days. You can probably do it in like 3 hours. And so that means you have to get really good at curation. You have to get really good at design. But the good news is you can do it much more quickly. If you're writing a paper or if you're actually coding, right, now snippets and codes are actually going to be reused very, very quickly. And so now you got to get really good at finding bugs or finding errors. So you change the skill sets that you're using, just like, back when I was in school, like you couldn't bring a calculator to an exam. Now everyone has these super graphical calculators that are doing all these kind of things.
What about regulation within the space? Because Elon Musk was one of the initial investors here in OpenAI years ago. He met with Senator Schumer recently, just last week, talking about the need for regulation within AI. How do you see that taking shape? How do you see that affecting the industry?
Yeah, we're going to need a lot of help, and it's really around the content. Part of the challenge is that we are at a point where the exponential misinformation and disinformation coming at us, and we're not going to know what's real anymore. So we've got to be able to tag content, understand what content can't be ingested, address copyright laws that are going to happen, derivatives are going to pop up as well. But we also need to have a couple of levels of ethics. First, algorithms need to be transparent. We need to understand what's going on. We make decisions by bias, but if you have unwanted bias, we actually have to be able to understand what's happening with that. So it's got to be explainable. But once you have that in place, how do you reverse things, right? So you're discriminating against left-handed people with purple hair. Oh, I'm so sorry. How do we actually reverse that so we learn from that? And of course, we have to train this over time. And then the last piece is, if you don't have a human in the loop, well, you might not want to know what may happen next.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit scary to think about. All right, Wang, always great to have you here. Thanks for coming on set here with us.